Stock market update on the 13th of March before US market open. Fourth quarter GDP in the US has been revised downwards to just 0.7% growth. Now, that's actually perversely good for stocks. And the reason is that it will increase the pressure to cut interest rates in the United States. And that is one of the key factors that the markets are watching for. Why are they watching for that? Well, you could say they should be watching for lots of other things. They watch what they watch. And one of the key obvious reasons for looking at interest rates is if interest rates are lower, consumers have more money, investors through companies have more money, and government in many ways has more money as well through tax revenues, increased growth and expectations. So it's actually perversely good news. Now, global markets. Let's start off with those. Then we'll go to the US markets. We'll mention some stocks like Nvidia, Oracle, Microsoft in this, and we'll look at the UK markets and BP, Shell, BAE Systems as well. So global markets, global stocks, flat to falling. The issue is really about the war and oil above $100. People are now starting to look closely at oil and say, well, wait a minute, who does this impact? Not the Americans. They don't import oil from the Iranians. Chinese do, and Chinese growth is important. But the Iranians, in trying to get the oil out through a shadow fleet to China, won't be stopped in any event, regardless of sanctions. Does it impact the Indians, another major economy, or the EU? Well, the EU still gets its oil from Saudi Arabia, if you're looking at the Middle East, and India. The Americans have said, please buy it from the Russians. Please, please, please. So the Americans and the EU are once again begging the Indians to buy it from the Russians. So it doesn't impact global growth in that regard either. In fact, as far as the stock market's concerned, it's more a perception of fear rather than fear itself. And higher oil prices shouldn't push up interest rates. It shouldn't impact broad stock market profitability. So if it's not impacting corporate balance sheets, cash flows, or P&L broadly, it might impact one or two companies, obviously, then there's absolutely nothing really to worry about other than fear itself. So volatility, of course, is rising. If you look at the VIX volatility index, it's climbed above 28. This is a classic case of, whilst we don't know and we don't really expect statistically for there to be a deep fall in the markets, fear will lead to a shorter term pullback, and you should comfortably brace for a 5% drop, let's say, on the S&P 500 without trying to trade it, without trying to be anything other than an investor who sits through it. Might it lead to something deeper? Well, unless you want to gamble on that, you're better off waiting. And given that you're an investor and not trying to trade, your decisions are already made for you. The US markets, let's have a look at those. They closed lower, of course, yesterday. Futures today, as I said, slightly down. Though as I look across things, the stocks 600 in Europe is up, DAX is up, FTSE's up. The CAC 40 is up as well. If I look at Dow futures, they're slightly up, actually. S&P 500 are slightly up, and so are NASDAQ futures. So positive for the moment. But don't read anything into that. It is so sensitive to what's happening in the Middle East, oversensitive, I'm sure you'd agree, to what's happening in the Middle East, that it is geopolitical noise and should really be ignored. Neither do you want to be playing with airlines. You don't want to be playing with airline stocks at the best of times. But if you think you're going to try and trade a deep discount bargain, well, might I suggest you try and buy some cheap warehouse goods down the high street and sell it on eBay. It's the same thing you're trying to gamble on. I wouldn't do it with financial markets. Tech stocks, they're mixed, but they still dominate all the stories. So what should I mention? Nvidia remains a key AI market leader, continues to drive market sentiment. We're back to the good old days. Oracle continues to attract attention due to strong demand for AI cloud infrastructure. But remember, Oracle tends to be very volatile. So it's one of those that once you've bought into it off the back of a positive news story, you really have to be prepared to sit through 25-30% drops. Speaking of 25% drops, Microsoft continues to benefit from AI investment and data center spending, and it's now at that buy the dip buy zone of having dropped 25%. I won't exactly be able to call the bottom on Microsoft by day and hour or minute, so it's more about a zone, and I'd call this the buy zone. UK markets, so it's 100 was down a little bit, now looking flat to up, which is all very good news for all of us. BP and Shell benefiting from higher oil prices. Again, higher oil prices, if I wanted to do a straightforward gamble on it, I'd probably go to Ladbrokes, not try and do it through the markets. It's a bad way that people have been taught of trying to invest and confusing themselves with traders and then punting instead. BAE Systems has been strong because of defense stocks. Now, the thing about defense stocks is, of course, there's been a massive depletion by the Americans at a rate that they've not used even in Vietnam or in allowing for changes in GDP or in Iraq. And of course, they'll be buying more goods from Lockheed Martin and all of these companies. However, historically, it hasn't been a simple, this will go up vertically or in a straight line. So we will, as the defense companies bubble up on our value growth income filter for our clients, we will keep an eye on them, just as NVIDIA filtered and bubbled up in 2021 and 2023. But we won't be doing it on a narrative story of what's going on in the Middle East. And we will allow for the fact that if they're particularly volatile, we might not have them. We might find better companies which aren't as volatile as some of those defense ones. Commodities and macro, Brent crude above $100. Now, I've been saying on this broadcast for quite a while now that anything above 80 will be troubling for the stock market, as we can see. Okay. Higher inflation risk because of higher oil. If that delays interest rate cuts by central banks, then central banks don't know basic economics. And sadly, it is so often the case that they don't. US dollar is, of course, strengthening because, guess what? Investors are moving to safe haven asset. It's not Bitcoin and gold they're all diving into right now. So anyway, right now, global markets is being driven by, well, not earnings, not economics, by oil and geopolitics. That's relatively rare. And oil and geopolitics rarely gives rise to stock market crashes. What usually gives rise to stock market crashes are balance sheet, P&L, or cash flow. Cash flow crash, COVID. P&L crash, dot-com boom. Balance sheet crash, 2008 financial crisis. We don't seem to be at the moment in any of those. For those who are scaredy cats and want to prematurely predict everything, then the stock market is not for you, because you'll be jumping around like, well, they used to say in the old days, cat on a hot tin roof. Good luck with it all. Have a look at campaignforamillion.com. I've posted some new articles which you will find very helpful if your pension is underperforming. And if you'd like a free pension review, then please go to campaignforamillion.com as well. I'm Alpesh Patel, hedge fund manager, author, Financial Times published books, Financial Times columns, BBC newspaper reviewer, amongst other things, and I'm sure I've forgotten other accolades. So thank you all for watching. I hope to see you soon.